Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday evening Satsang. Just invite you now to put down whatever you may be holding in your hands or in your lap. Find your seat. You're still standing. And allow yourself now to just come into a new space by taking a deep breath in. Relax and let go. Simply allow yourself now to feel the relaxation of just being still. Feel yourself relaxing in place. And with each breath, allow yourself to fill with the sweet, sustaining oxygen that flows through your body, through your mind, through your heart, filling every organ and system with nourishment and energy, relaxing and letting go of what no longer serves. You are the interface between the physical and the divine. You are at the interface of all that is possible, all that has been, all that will be. Breathing is the movement of energy and beauty in you. Power, life, love. And so in this moment, you are relaxed and ready, open, receptive. And now you give the signal from the interior to the exterior and let it begin now. And so it is. Amen.
Let's continue to open to Spirit's holy presence as we move into our time of chants.
Sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One.
We sing this next chant to pray for freedom from suffering for all sentient beings, freedom from pain, from depression, healing.
Te ata om bekanse Mahabekanse rasa samudgate soa. 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 Te ata om bekanse Mahabekanse rasa samudgate soa.
Move into our time of meditation. Let us find a seated posture that is balanced and centered. Feeling yourself grounded, weight evenly balanced in your body. Strong spine and a relaxed belly. Off of your shoulders. Palms up in a receptive position if that works for you. Tuning into the breath. with each successive breath, allowing the belly to let go more, allowing the breath to soften and deepen, feeling ease in the natural movement of the breath. Allowing yourself to become calm and receptive to your inner experience. Noticing how you're feeling in this moment. Welcoming whatever is present. Just noticing. Keeping your heart open. We're going to be focusing in this meditation time on reflecting on a difficulty, bringing that into our contemplative time of meditation. I invite you to think of a difficulty that you face in your spiritual practice or in any area of your life. Whatever difficulty arises first, stay with that. And as you sense this difficulty, notice how it affects your body, your heart, and your mind. Just feeling it carefully. Being with it with a desire to understand, to allow it to speak. Begin to ask yourself these questions, listening inwardly for their response. How have I treated this difficulty so far? How have I suffered by my own response and reaction to it? What does this problem ask me to let go of? What great lesson might this difficulty be able to teach me? What is the gold, the gift inherent in this situation? Honoring any understandings or openings that may arise, knowing that it may take time to fully understand all that this difficulty may have available for you to know. Beholding the person or persons involved in this situation, as representations of the Christ, of the Buddha, come in disguise to bring you the gift inherent in this difficulty. Offering a namaste, sacred bow to the difficulty, to any persons involved. Trusting that the gift will be apparent if it is not already. Allow yourself to receive the blessing of the situation. The growth, the deepening of compassion for yourself. Allow yourself to feel your own support in having gone through that difficulty. Acknowledging any pain that may have arisen for you. Creating a nurturing space for that within you, to make it okay, to allow it to be presenced, to be loved. Recognizing the greater presence always available to support you in and through all situations. Unfolding you now, bringing you to peace, seeing you in all aspects of your experience, and loving you unconditionally. Receive this love of the divine in your heart. I am at peace with all that concerns me. I am peace. I am love. I am light. And so it is. Amen.
So I just invite you to take a deep breath into your body and let go. And allow yourself now to just allow that final vibration of those affirmations of peace and love and light be affixed to you. Feel their shimmering presence in you. And just continue to breathe easily and gently now. This is the time in our service that we share from the gifts we have received. In this time, in this service, yes, but in all aspects of our lives, whatever it is that you're feeling grateful for, or served by, or fulfilled from, that is going on in your life now, this is an opportunity to share it back out in through this ministry and out into the world from a place of love and gratitude, of generosity, and an opportunity to share, knowing that we are always passing the life and the love and the peace that passes understanding through our own lives and into the world. And so with that, I'll just invite you now to plan your gift using text to give or some other way you choose to give to the ministry. You can find it on our website as well. But for now, we just invite you to take a deep breath in and allow your mind and heart to open. And as you do, speaking the words of blessing that come from the center of our hearts as the love that we are. And we speak the words now together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is. Amen.
Making changes inside of you, making changes within your heart, changing the inside will change the outside too. Yes, it's the inside where you must start. Examine your very soul. Explore just what you feel. Be willing to face the truth in your challenge to find find what's real. Making changes for a brand new world. Dissolve all sorrow, release all fear. Let only loving be your shining pearl, lighting your pathway. The road is clear. Examine your very soul. Explore just what you feel. Be willing to face the truth in your challenge to find what's real. Making changes inside of you. Making changes within your heart. Changing the inside will change the outside too. Yes, it's the inside where you must start. Yes, it's the inside within your heart.
Thank you, David. Felt like I just wanted to stay inside the feeling of that song, and hopefully we can keep that energy going as we continue to connect in this time. I hope you got to take a chance to go outside today. If not, there's always tomorrow, but the weather in Houston, if you're in Houston, was just perfect for a walk, and I got to take a walk, walked my dog, and beginning to see very small signs of spring coming, little purple flowers sticking up out of the grass. But the grass, we're only a couple of weeks after our ice storm, and it's looking really yellow. The palm trees are yellow. It looks like straw. Will it stay like that? Of course not. Of course not. We fully expect our Houston green grass to be coming back as we move from winter to spring. We will see it turn green again. I'm wondering tonight, what has dried up and turned to straw in your life? Are there painful circumstances or difficult people that just don't seem to change? What if I told you that those very difficulties can be the source of your greatest spiritual growth? I promised that tonight we'd be doing some spiritual alchemy. Our topic is turning straw into gold. We're continuing in our series on Jack Kornfield's A Path with Heart. And we've been practicing in our series being present, being aware of the need to stop the war within, seeing the need for healing. And so tonight, we consider the fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin. Do you remember that one? The story of the young maiden who found herself in a room filled with straw. And she doesn't realize that the room full of straw that she's locked in is really gold in disguise. We don't realize that all that is around us that may seem like winter and dried up, suffering, struggle, all that can be transformed into opportunities to deepen our peace, our wisdom, our patience, our compassion, and even our sacred presence here on this planet through those very difficulties. So how do we turn straw into gold? I'll share with you a story from The Path with Heart. It's a story of a professor of psychology who came to meditation retreats. She'd been studying meditation. She turned to meditation to seek greater peace and understanding in her life, and she did a lot of study of Eastern philosophy. She wanted to better understand the way that consciousness worked, the way that our mind operates. But when she would sit in her sitting practice, her body would not cooperate. She would center into her practice, and she experienced just a return to her awareness of the lifelong struggle that she had had with a degenerative disease that caused her great periods of pain and weakness in her body. And so every time she went into meditation, that pain would come right back into her awareness in a huge way. And she thought that meditation would take her out of her pain. And every time she meditated, the aches, the pains would come in her sitting and her walking meditations. And she just couldn't get over this pain. And after several retreats, the pain got even worse. And she didn't come for that. She came to have spiritual experiences and not to experience her old pain. And she was asked, what is your relationship with this pain? And her response was, oh, I am aware of it. I'm just being aware of it. However, she was secretly hoping that it would go away. I'm aware of it and I want it to go away. So she was experiencing a lot of resistance to this pain that was coming up and feeling that it shouldn't be there. But one day, after being in retreat for hours and just frustrated with the presence of this pain, again and again, she finally let go of her resistance and just had an open attention. And she saw it all in a whole new light. She had spent her whole life trying to get outside of this pain, outside of her body completely. And she hated this pain. She hated her body. She hated this experience. She was trying to use meditation to get outside of herself, and it took her so deeply into herself. And when she saw this, that she had been trying to get out of herself for so long, she wept. She deeply, deeply wept from her soul. She recognized that she had showed her body very little love. And this was the turning point. This is the gold in the practice, that in going in and through the pain, rather than trying to circumvent it, and opening to it, and allowing it to be, and seeing it for what it is in our relationship, her relationship with it. She decided that she would work with sitting with her body in pain, and to bring it all the tenderness and all the mercy that she possibly could. And as she did this, honoring her body in all of its pain, her body began to soften. And she began to experience a great love and a compassion that people could see in her eyes. And she then went forward to become a teacher of these spiritual values that she once sought, of this coming into opening the heart to a greater acceptance of the inner experience. And we know that when we can bring our full presence to our own pain and suffering, how much more facile do we become at being able to do that for others in our lives. In every aspect of our life, there is a chance to turn straw into gold when we go to our hearts and we become willing to learn from this difficulty rather than constantly resisting it, whining and complaining about it, trying to push it away. Instead of fighting it, we can use our wisdom and discover our good fortune in the difficulty. The Buddha said this: just as the oceans have but one taste, the taste of salt, so too there is but one taste fundamental to all true teachings of the way, and this is the taste of freedom. Freedom being the gold. Our spiritual practice helps us to find freedom in the midst of the difficulty. And how this helped me, I think back to when I was in my 3rd year of ministerial school. And the energy in the student body at that time, there was a lot of energy that I was picking up of fear and concern about the future. What kind of job am I going to get? Where am I going to go? This is going to end, and what's life going to look like? And there was energy that was coming back towards problems with the school, different things that the fear was manifesting in different ways. And I recognized as I sat with that fear in my meditation practice, and I was practicing insight meditation at that time, that I had a choice. I could listen to that fear and allow it to turn into gold, to allow that fear to turn into something else as I presenced it. And I listened to it and what the fear needed. The fear needed my trust and my support. And so I was there for myself, and I decided that I had some choices in how I was going to show up in my 3rd year, and that it was a limited time journey, that soon I would be leaving Unity Village. So I did everything I could to enjoy the village, to enjoy the people, to appreciate the people, to make connections, to volunteer in ways that gave me joy, and did not volunteer in ways that weren't going to give me joy. I did not want to get involved in things that were just building up this fear consciousness. And I'm not saying that everybody who I was in school with was like this. This was just something I was picking up on, okay? And I think it's pretty common, as in any program, as people graduate, they want to know what's next. And so I have seen myself face that every time there's a juncture where, like, I just finished a training to become a soul collage facilitator, and it's like, well, what's next? What do I do with that next? And the fear comes up, and I have learned that I can take that, I can recognize when that comes up, and I don't have to let that inhibit me. Because in my life, I can think of enough times in my life that I've let that difficulty of anxiety or fear be something that stopped me from doing something I really wanted to do, because I thought, well, I can't do it because this fear is here, right? But if I can take that fear and love it and see what it needs to tell me and listen. So that can be true of anger. We can listen. Judgment. We can listen. What does it need to tell me? Because that energy is coming up in a big way, for some way to learn, to comfort, grow through that. And that's that stretch. I feel like fear, I get into fear when I'm stretching. So if we want to grow, we've got to stretch, right? We've got to get into our uncomfortable places. I love this story that has to do with stretching that Jack Kornfield tells, and it's the story of the poisoned tree. So interesting. It shows the process of our maturing through approaching our difficulties. So there are 3 different approaches to this poison tree. And the first approach to the poison tree is that some people see the poison tree as only danger. They see it and they say, let's cut this down before anybody gets hurt, before anybody gets poisoned, before anybody eats this fruit. And so this is an example of our initial response to difficulties that arise in our lives. Well, let's just cut it out. When we face sorrow or loss or fear or conflict or depression, that we call it bad, we say it's hurting us, let's uproot it, let's get rid of it, let's cut it down. So that is considered the beginner response on the spiritual path to the poison tree. So as people are further along on the spiritual path and discover the poison tree, they don't treat it with aversion. They've already opened to life and have a compassion, more of a deep compassion for that which is around them. So they see that this tree is somehow connected to them. And they say, well, let's not cut it down. The best thing that we can do is to have compassion for this tree. So they decide, out of kindness, to build a fence out around the tree so others won't be poisoned and the tree will still have life. And this represents our shift from judgment and fear into compassion. Then there's this third type of person who has traveled even deeper on the spiritual path, who sees this same poison tree. This person has gained much vision and knowledge and wisdom, looks at the tree and says, oh, a poison tree? Perfect! This is just what I was looking for. And the individual picks the poison fruit, they study the fruit, they learn about its properties and how it can be a healing agent. They mix it with other ingredients, and they take what was a poison and use it as a medicine to heal the sick and to transform the ills of the world. So through this person's understanding and deeper wisdom and respect of this poison tree, this person sees it in a way that is opposite to the way that most people see a difficulty, a problem, struggling circumstances. So which one are you of the 3? What do you think? How do you see difficulties and obstacles in your life? Are you willing to experience spiritual alchemy and discover the gift in the poison tree? What freedom has yet to be found in the midst of your difficulties? The things that we do well, I know when I go into spiritual direction with my spiritual director, I always wonder, well, why am I always talking about the places where I'm struggling? I should be talking more about the things that are working well, which I do sometimes, but I recognize that the areas where I'm struggling, well, that's where I'm growing. That's my opportunity to grow. I don't need support necessarily on the things that are working well. I need support on the areas that I need to open up more in, that I need a deeper understanding, that I need to see how is this, what I'm seeing as a poison tree, something that can bring me a gift, that can bring me life, that's a straw that can be turned into gold. If our strength is to think through things, then thoughts won't be our best teacher. If our strength is to feel through things, then feelings aren't going to be the best way to learn, according to Jack Kornfield. He says the place where we're most open up to the mystery of life is in what we don't do well, where we struggle, where we're vulnerable. And that is the very ground where seed is planted and new things are born in us, in and through that. So if we can just see that as, oh, I recognize that as an opportunity for me to grow in my understanding, my compassion, my willingness to see this person for who they are rather than my projection upon them or the great feelings that arise in me due to this difficulty. So I want to invite you to do something, to take on a practice, and that's to look in your life at where you're having judgment or anger in your life. And there's gold in that. There's gold in the judgment and anger when we take the time to value what is being said within us when we experience that. That through the experience of judgment or anger, we can recognize in ourselves our own value of justice and of integrity. And so when you listen to that judgment and that anger arise within you, that can be changed into something that can be valuable to yourself, to other people, in your own wisdom, and in the actions that you choose to take. And so transformed, what may feel like self-destructive or other-destructive, transformed when you listen to it and when you glean the wisdom in it that is trying to give you, it gives us clarity to see what needs to be done, how to be more skillful, and what limits we might want to set. And so that is how we begin to birth what Jack Kornfield calls discriminating wisdom. As we listen to what is arising within us, that there's always that gold present. So are you willing to turn your straw into gold and see the value in your difficulties? I want to close with a Tibetan prayer in which, before every step of their spiritual practice, they would pray this prayer, calling in difficulties as gifts. And here's the prayer. Grant that I may be given appropriate difficulties and sufferings on this journey, so that my heart may be truly awakened and my practice of liberation and universal compassion may be truly fulfilled. And so let us choose to face our difficulties with compassion, with an open heart, with faith, and with love. And in doing so, we will see our straw turning into gold. And so it is.
Wow, that was lovely. I loved some of those ideas, and I'm working on something, and it was very helpful to be guided both in the meditation as well as in the talk, Jeanmarie. This is really good. I love turning straw into gold. I use that phrase a lot because it's so useful and it's so affirming, you know, it's just like you're saying. So I love the poison tree thing. I love the poison. I loved the idea of just opening ourselves up to and the question that you asked, you know, do you notice, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but do you notice in your own life when you're confronted with something that you're trying to work with, that when you're confronted with it, how do you see it? Do you see it as the problem? Do you see it as the obstacle? Or do you see it as the possibility or something to change? And I have to say, when it's in somebody else's life, I see the possibility. You know, hey, I can reframe it. I can say, hey, you can go through that. You know, I can see for other people. For myself, you know, I feel it's leaden, you know, it's like right in the way, or it's on me or something. And it's only with time that I remember to befriend it. Anything that's giving me pain or anything that's hurting, making me feel less than, unlovable, you know, is to remind myself that that none of that's the truth, and that somehow this is my friend. You know, how can I befriend this thing or this experience or this, especially if it won't go away, you know, that's the thing. If I've tried everything else, you know, to get rid of it or to transmute it, you know, or whatever, and it won't, then it's obviously for me. And that's, as a last resort, I will just accept it. I'll eat the fruit. I'll eat the poison fruit, you know? I'll just eat it and see what it'll do.
Wow. You said so many things. I just have to figure out which tangent I want to pick up. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Jack and Jill met, fell in love. They lived in bliss their entire lives. The end. It's just not an interesting story.
Yes.
You know, and furthermore, it's not the way we live. You know, we have our every day is a journey that requires navigating obstacles. And I think that the juice of everything you said is in that action verb, turning straw into gold. Because we encounter our obstacles, our difficulties, our discomfort, and it's not that there's the gold in the midst of that. There might be. I think actually in some cases there might be, but most of the time it is the engagement with possibility. You know, that the straw that I'm in the midst of, the discomfort, the pain I'm engaged with, I can either surrender to the pain and let that be what controls my life, my thoughts, my consciousness, my truth, or I can. Now I remember what I was going to say to what you were saying a moment ago, Karen, about it's not true. In the shadow of what you said, though, is what we make up isn't true either. I think there are universal principles. I think there is God's truth, but I think those are on all the time, and my opinion about it, my experience of it is kind of beside the point. But my interaction with my discomfort, my pain, my suffering, if I can just live into the possibility that this is my growth point, that this is the traction by which I live my life, so that Jack and Jill can have an interesting life, then it almost doesn't matter that it turns into gold, a particular brand of gold. It's the engagement with possibility that allows another day to unfold. You know, I don't, I'll say this last thing and I'll shut up. I'm happy a lot, like a lot, and I'm really happy a lot, and I'm just not committed to being happy. It's fine if I'm happy, but I'm committed to being honest and to staying with my circumstance and to stay inquisitive and curious about what my circumstance is asking of me and what's mine to do. And then as a consequence, I get a heavy dose of happiness a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. I just feel about, I'm trying not to I'm hesitating because I don't want to share other people's stories, but just how there is not necessarily gold in every circumstance like that. There's good there. There can, in situations of addiction or abuse, that there's just not something good. But what I see as good is like in 12-step, when you've gone through the steps and then you become someone else's sponsor. And then you're passing on that gift of your experience of having gone through all those difficulties and come out on the other side of it. And there is that kind of goal too, where it just makes you become a more awake and aware and compassionate and loving person because you had gone through this. And life, like you were saying, life is not like Jack and Jill, and things happen, like that ice storm happened to all of us all at once, and it's nobody's fault. It just happened. The pandemic, it happened. We're all going through it, and no one affirmed it or manifested it because they needed an opportunity to grow, right? So this is just the nature of it, and makes you think, well, this is how this life is constructed, for us to go on these adventures of inner and outer exploration to grow our Christ consciousness. And that's how it's grown. Jesus was healing people who I think most of us would walk on the other side of as far away from that person as possible, would not be willing to put a hand on or, give that love and attention and teaching to. And so I think of that, of being willing to be present to that, in the leper in me that doesn't want to be seen or that I want to ignore. If I can take all of that into my heart and just really be present to that in me, then I can really learn to do that with other people.
Yeah, I'm just aware that that what we're talking about, what you were talking about, Jeanmarie, and what you were leading us through in the meditation, all one piece. But it is to me, it's the essence of what spiritual transformation is. It is constantly being invited / challenged to see that eternal truth expressed even in this.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever this is, whatever is eating my lunch right in front of me, is eating my lunch right now. And knowing for a fact at my age that has a gift, is a gift, will transform into one, whatever, that there's something else for me. As soon as I get over not being done yet, as soon as I get over the disappointment of I've got another thing, to mess with, but then, all right. And so I do engage, as I said, try to, dismantle it, try to break it up, try to give it to somebody else, try to project it if possible, whatever I can do to make it go away. But if it stays with me, I know it's for me. And eventually I will capitulate and work with it. And it never fails to bless, honestly. And it's never exactly what I thought it was, It's never exactly the failure or the ugliness that finally came out and now it's all visible and I'll be unlovable or whatever. It's really always another way that I can grow bigger and more unbelievably more lovable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the reason I say it that way is because it's always a shock to learn that just being messy and chaotic and sharp pointy things sticking out and all kinds of mess still looks lovable to other people because it's accessible and because it's relatable and because we're in it together and we love, right? So this is my absolute favorite thing for us to talk about. To me, this is the only thing I think I ever talk about, because to me, this is the thing.
Well, I have a question then, for both of you, actually, with a preface. What we do here, engaging in these conversations and the meditation and practicing the chants and all, it's part of our spiritual fitness. The rotisserie turns, and we get another dose of Wednesday night satsang, maybe Sunday morning. We have other kinds of study, so it's part of our spiritual inquiry. And it really makes a difference in the quality of my life, because it sharpens my tools and my willingness and the speed with which I can move through the obstacles that happen. But I'm getting to my question. I occasionally encounter people who are pretty committed to their straw. They're pretty committed to their pain. And even if I'm empowered to help them a little bit, it's more fascinating to go back to what's not working. And I would benefit, and I would dare say others might benefit in hearing you say something about how to be of support with people for whom there's not really much of an opening. If that's too loaded, you can deflect. But I find myself wondering about that, how to be effective in those kinds of situations.
I heard Panache Desai say today, I listened to his call to calm meditation sometimes in the morning, and he said, you've chosen this spiritual path that you're on, but not everybody's chosen that path. You can see not everybody has. So to think that you would impose that onto them rather than just love them as they are, they're who they are, they're as they are, then the way that we feel conflict in wanting them to, I have this tool for you and you can do this. And it's just always where I feel that I, in my own mind, fail miserably when I try to give them, here's the spiritual truth I know, and then it's not received because it's not their path. So,
or maybe it's not time.
Or it could be not time. Just for me, honoring them, and I guess it depends on how your relationship is with that person, but considering how much time you want to be in the presence of all that too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the counsel to honor it and to love it, because my inclination is to resist it, to somehow invalidate it, decide for them it's not appropriate. And that I know better, and thank goodness I haven't acted on it, but nonetheless I've kind of left it thinking a little unfulfilled in my job, like I could do more. I know I could do more.
Yeah, I would agree, that there's some kind of soul connection to the suffering, or to the, I guess addiction's a good example of that. There are some people who will go through their entire life addicted, no matter how many times they try and how many maybe periods of sobriety or getting clean they manage, but ultimately they die of the disease. I find that so tragic and so hard, and yet the conclusion that I draw from it is that every life has so much value and there's so much love that the sadness that comes from seeing that struggle and never seeing healing of any kind or lasting, it simply leaves one sober in knowing, and it's ironic, but in observing that there are no guarantees, and yet that soul is just as perfect and whole as it was created to be, even while this body and this experience is so embroiled in pain and suffering and challenge and difficulty. And somehow this has been the right vehicle for this soul. And the reflection on everyone whom it touches, that person involves, is affected. And an opportunity is there. And opportunities everywhere. Opportunities are everywhere in every moment. Our choice for how we react, respond, what we make it mean, how we use it, how then shall we live, It's always that. And, I think the hardest thing for us to recognize is when someone has chronic pain. That woman that you were describing, I thought was such a great example, because it seems, especially in our unity thing, we want to slap a happy face on it and just say, well, it's resistance, and as soon as she stops resisting, then she won't be in pain. Oh no, it's chronic pain. Her body has a disease, and she will always have some pain. But what's interesting about that is that in going into the pain, that there is actually a place, and you talked about that, where she was trying to get out of her body, where the pain was. But in fact, when she went deeper into herself, what I suspect she actually experienced was the bedrock of peace, where she could lose herself instead into an experience of peace and acceptance, and the pain subsides. You can't look at you can't have two thoughts at the same time. So if your thought is recognizing the stillness and the peace and the depth somehow, or the silence or the darkness, that you're not noticing the pain in that moment. And it doesn't mean your body isn't firing the neurons in the brain, but you're not paying attention to that. And in some ways, that's not the escape, but that's how you get beside the point. The pain wasn't the problem. Pain isn't the issue. It's my friend.
It's the judgment of the disapproval of the pain.
Yes, what it means,
Yes,
right, and
right.
how it shouldn't be here, and that's not fair, and it's not right, and all of that. And we have to let go of all of that story to get to what the reality is. And in that is the liberation. That's the freedom. That's the freedom. And freedom is what we seek, and it is our birthright. And
It's
so
our natural state.
it is our natural state. And as soon as we can let go of everything unlike it, we will be there.
If I may share one final thing.
Please.
That minister taught me that I've used sometimes with difficult people, and he gave us some guidance to say, within ourselves, but to speak to that person's soul and say, I forgive you for the personality you've created, and I call forth the Christ you are.
Oh.
And that has served me in seeing them differently, and it just seems to create a shift. So you might try it.
Seeing the Christ, yes.
Oh, beautiful. Well, this is our opportunity now to move into a place of prayer. And this gives us that opportunity, doesn't it, to be aware of the conditions and the people in our lives for whom we would like for things to be different, whether the conditions can change or be enhanced, or people's lives around us be made better, more whole. Whatever our request is, whatever our feeling is, let us breathe in now together and know that just within the sound of my voice are so many souls that are all over the geographical distances, hearing the same voice in the same moment. And yet, our hearts are right up against one another. We are hearing the same call, the same opportunity to open ourselves with the breath into receptivity, into life, into love. And as we feel that movement in ourselves, we are better able to impart it by speaking the names of our loved ones and the conditions that we wish to see different in the world or in our lives. And so in this next few moments, into the space among us, the space that separates us geographically, heart to heart, there's a aliveness where every gift awaits, and we surrender our loved ones into it and the conditions that they may be transmuted, transformed into gold. Now, And so they are released and changed, lifted into a higher vibration of truth, of life, of love, peace, good. And so are we, and so it is. Amen. Well, no sooner are we done with one wonderful talk than we are ready to send you diving into the next one, which is going to be Sunday. Reverend Michael will be starting the month off with The Great Undoing. I don't know what that's about. Actually, I could make something up right now, but you know what? You're just simply going to have to tune in and watch it on live stream, 11 o'clock. And I know it'll be good and wonderful. Our Spanish language service will be coming from this stage this Sunday, and Chris Perez will be speaking on El Poder de la Sabiduría, the power of wisdom. So it looks like a 12-power series may be starting with her. And that will be a wonderful way to begin March. So if our Spanish speakers, or if you know of a Spanish speaker, be sure and direct them to this great live stream. Our Unity Prayer class, or at least the one that I started this Monday, is still accepting students. If you'd like to jump in and join us by next Monday from 7 to 9, it's every Monday in March. But next Monday is the last time you can join the class. It's a 5-week Zoom class, and it's on Unity Prayer. It's our affirmative prayer process that you hear us use. And if you'd like to learn how to use it for yourself and for us praying with others, this is the class for you. Hope you can join us. Just go to the website under Spiritual Teachings and Classes, and you'll find your way into it. Look forward to having you there. Next week, I will be picking up A Path with Heart and talking about naming the demons. Oh, are we getting into it? Yes. Forget this turning straw into gold stuff. We're going straight into naming demons next week. So if you've got some things that you would like to know more about and be able to take a look at, this is an opportunity for you to join us next Wednesday. Hope you'll be with us then. Also know that we've got a couple of exciting things coming up. On March 14th, you can join us in person once again in the sanctuary. That's March 14th is the Sunday. Not this Sunday coming up, but the Sunday after. We are going to open up for sign-ups begin at 12:15 p.m. this Sunday for the following Sunday. Does that make sense? March 7th, right after the service is over, you can go online and our website, and you can sign up to be with us on the 14th in the service. Our safety protocol is being observed, mask, physically distance, etc. We're trying to keep everybody healthy and everybody, distanced, and also make everybody feel comfortable and welcome. So hope that you will be able to be with us for that. That'll be cool. That afternoon, we are also offering our Burning Bowl ceremony. It will be from 12:30 to 2. And it's an opportunity for you to burn and release the paper that you bring with you, inviting you to bring your list of things that you want to let go of from 2020. I know it's a little overdue, but we thought we wanted to wait until we could do this thing in person, and we could do it together as a ceremony. So just know that RSVPs are not needed for that. If you're not coming to the service, just know that you don't have to RSVP. Just know that we'll be doing it in the courtyard, and you can just come up. Masks will be required there, but you bring your paper with you and walk in a line to release it and let it go. And somewhere between 12:30 and 2, that would be the time to come. Is there anything else that I'm missing about that? That sounded like everything? Well, we hope that you'll be joining us. We're really looking forward to being in person again and gradually opening more and more over time as it is safe to do. And so just know that this has been a long time coming, but it's worth it. So glad that you're with us. And now Reverend Jeanmarie will be leading us in the metta practice.
Join us in our prayer for the welfare of all beings. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all. Namaste. 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 I bow to you.
Namaste. 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 Go shine your light into the world. Namaste. Namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste.